In the ongoing conflict between Israel and Hamas, tensions escalate as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addresses concerns raised by the Biden administration over potential military operations in Gaza's southernmost town, Rafah. Netanyahu downplays fears of a ground invasion, reassuring civilians that they will have the opportunity to flee the fighting. Speaking to a bipartisan U.S. congressional delegation in Jerusalem on Wednesday, Netanyahu said those sheltering in Rafah will be able to move away from the fighting.
Victory is within reach. It's a few weeks away. Now we are told, this is it, last point. Now we are told, you can't do this. If you go into Rafah, you're going to have a humanitarian catastrophe. You're going to have, 30,000 civilian dead. Okay. That's not true. That is simply not true. All of the Gaza Strip north of Rafah, people move down, they can move back up. They don't have to go into north of Wadi Gaza, but there's still 65% of the Gaza Strip left open. And people just move. They move with their tents. They have no place to go. Yes, they have a place to go. Second, we provide them food. The problem was not the entry of trucks. The problem was the stealing of trucks, both by looting by Hamas and looting by others and so on.
However, the prospect of an Israeli incursion into Rafah, home to 1.4 million Palestinians, has sparked global alarm. The United States, Israel's top ally, has cautioned against a potential humanitarian crisis triggered by the offensive, which has become a bone of contention between the long-standing allies.
Over the past 6 months, we have been fighting a war against a brutal terror organization, Hamas, which is the ISIS of Gaza. We also face attacks from 7 different fronts. Today, we will discuss developments in Gaza and the means to achieve our goals, the destruction of Hamas organization and bringing back the Israeli hostages.
The safety of the 1.5 million Palestinian civilians in Rafah is also a top priority for the United States. Now, we continue to share the goal of seeing Hamas defeated, so we'll discuss alternative approaches to target Hamas elements.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu stated that his decision not to send a delegation to Washington for talks with the Biden administration was aimed at sending a message to Hamas. The message conveyed was that international pressure against Israel would not force it to end the war without concessions from Hamas. This is being seen as an attempt to ease the conflict between the two sides.
I thought the U.S. decision in the Security Council was very, very bad. My decision not to send the delegation to Washington in the wake of that resolution was a message to Hamas. It was a message first and foremost to Hamas. Don't bet on this pressure, it's not going to work. And I hope they got the message.
The rift between Israel and the U.S. deepened after the U.S. abstained from a UN Security Council resolution demanding an immediate ceasefire. Now a day's gap, the U.S. confirmed that talks have restarted, aimed at bringing top Israeli officials to Washington to discuss potential military operations in Gaza. The U.S. emphasized the importance of dialogue and presenting alternative solutions to Israel's planned military operations.
We do think it's important that that meeting happen. As we've said, we think that the plan that Israel has said it intends to pursue with respect to Rafah is one that would be a mistake, that would have enormous, a terrible impact on the civilian population there and would weaken Israel's security, and we think there's a better way, and we want to have the opportunity to present that better alternative to Israel. So we do think it's important that that meeting take place.
There is also a growing expression of support for Israel emerging from within the United States. Senator Lindsey Graham urged the Biden administration to support Israel's efforts to dismantle Hamas's military presence in Rafah.
4 battalions that still reside in the Rafah region must be destroyed. That is non-negotiable. One thing I've learned from talking to the Israeli Defense Forces is if these battalions are left intact, everything they've achieved will be lost over time. So I urge the Biden administration, the Congress, to make sure that Israel has the time and space to achieve victory over Hamas militarily.
As tensions persist, the international community watches closely what is next the Israel-US ties.